So in this lecture 2 of quantum mechanics, we'll discuss selection rules for the transition of electrons inside the hydrogen atom. So in this we will discuss that why some transitions they are more likely to occur than other transitions. And we have already studied Bohr's model of atom, and according to Bohr's model of an atom, one of its postulates state that when the electron it will undergo transition from one orbital or from one state to another state, then or from the higher state to the lower state, then the photon will be emitted with frequency nu is equal to the ratio of the energy difference of the two states and the Planck's constant. So from this it is clear that the frequency of emitted photon it just depends upon the energy difference of the two states, and it does not depend upon the probability of the two states, that is probability A and probability B. These two symbols, about these two symbols we have already studied in our previous lecture. So from this expression, the frequency of an emitted photon it just depends upon the energy difference of the two states, and it doesn't depend upon the wave function of electron or the probabilities A and B of these states, where A was the probability of this state and B was the probability of this state, and these two they are dependent upon time, and neither this nu it depends upon the wave function of electron in energy state Em, that is psi m, and the wave function of electron psi n in energy state En. So nu can be, that is the frequency of an emitted photon, it can be calculated without the knowledge of psi m, psi n, A and B. We just need these two quantities. But if we need to calculate the probability that a given transition will occur, given transition from the state Em to En, it will occur or not, then we need the information of these two quantities, that is electron wave function in energy state psi m and electron wave function in state En. So to calculate the probability that the given transition will occur or not, for that purpose we need to know the values of the wave function of electrons in both the energy states Em and En, which are psi m and psi n. And in the previous lecture we have already studied about the condition when the electron it is undergoing transition from mth state to nth state. Then what will be the average position of electron? We can find the average position of electron by using its expectation value. So the expectation value of position it is given by this integral minus infinity to plus infinity x into psi n into the complex conjugate of psi m into dx. So this is the general condition, necessary condition for any atom which is in the excited state, and the condition that any atom which is in the excited state it will radiate energy or the photon. The necessary condition is that the value of this integral it should be non-zero. It should not be equal to 0, because this is the average position of electron, expectation value of position of electron when it is undergoing transition from mth state to nth state or nth state to mth state, from any higher state to any lower state. So if the value of this integral, if it is non-zero, it means electron is undergoing transition from excited to some lower state. And same is the case of an atom. If its electron is undergoing transition from excited to lower state, atom is also undergoing transition from excited to lower state. So we have just studied that if the value of that integral, the integral of the expectation value of electron when it is undergoing transition from any higher state to lower state, if the value of that integral is non-zero or having any finite value, then the transitions of such type of electrons, they are known as allowed transitions. So allowed transitions are those transitions for which this integral from minus infinity to plus infinity x psi m star dx, it is non-zero or finite. So then what about forbidden transitions? The transitions for which the value of this integral comes out to be zero. It means expectation value of the position of electron between those states is zero. So those are known as forbidden transitions. Forbidden transitions are those transitions which are not allowed. Why? Because in that case, the value of this integral comes out to be zero. And if the value of this integral it is equal to zero, it means there is no transition possible from mth to nth state or from nth to mth state, because the expectation value of the electron comes out to be zero in the two states, between the two states. So this is all about forbidden transitions. And now as we are discussing one electron atomic spectra in this chapter, so we will take the case of hydrogen atom. So in case of hydrogen atom, we know that in the previous semester, last chapter of the previous semester, the quantum theory of hydrogen atom, we have already studied that the wave function of electron in case of hydrogen atom psi, that depends upon three quantum numbers: quantum number n, that is principal quantum number, then orbital quantum number L, and magnetic quantum number ml. For the value of the total wave function of electron in case of hydrogen atom, we need to know the dependence of psi on these three quantum numbers n, L and m. So these three quantum numbers, they are needed, their value is needed to specify the initial and final states which are involved in any transition of hydrogen atom. Because the energy of any state of hydrogen atom, it depends upon the principal quantum number n. The value of angular momentum of electron, the magnitude of angular momentum of electron in these two states, it depends upon the value of orbital quantum number, that is L. And the direction of angular momentum, it depends upon the magnetic quantum number ml. So all these quantities, they depend upon n, L and m, which further decides the value of psi. All this we have studied in the last chapter of our previous semester, that is the quantum theory of hydrogen atom. So suppose now we will define the values of these three quantum numbers in initial state and in final state. Suppose in case of initial state, if n dash, L dash and ml dash, these are the values of principal quantum number, orbital quantum number and magnetic quantum number in initial state. Similarly, in final state, suppose the values assigned to these three quantum numbers, these are n, l and ml. And as here we are taking x direction only, so suppose this u, it is the coordinate which is representing any of x, y or z. So what will be the condition for the allowed transitions in case of hydrogen atom? We will rearrange this integral to the three-dimensional coordinates, to three-dimensional form. It will be minus infinity to plus infinity. Instead of x coordinate, we are using general coordinate, that is u, representing any of x, y or z. And the wave function of electron in case of hydrogen atom, psi, it depends upon these three quantum numbers. So psi, function of n, l and ml. Similarly, this is final state, and this is the wave function of initial state, which just depends upon n dash, l dash and ml dash for its value. And dv, it is the small change in volume, and it should not be equal to 0. So this is the condition for allowed transitions in case of hydrogen atom. Then, so now, so far, we have concluded that not all the transitions of electrons from one state to another state are allowed. It doesn't mean that electron, it can go from any state to any state. It is not so. Electron can undergo transition from only that state to that state for which the value of that integral is non-zero. But it is not the only condition. Why? Because the wave function of electron in the hydrogen atom, it depends upon principal quantum number, orbital quantum number and magnetic quantum number. So after we have found out that this integral, it must be non-zero for any transition to be allowed, there are more than this condition available. And what are those conditions? So further it is found that, suppose, so far we have discussed that for any transition to be allowed, the two states, they must have different value of n, that is different value of principal quantum number. But there is also a condition over the value of L and over the value of ml. What is that? Only those transitions are allowed between the states of different n in which the value of orbital quantum number, that is L, it changes either by +1 or by -1. Means only those transitions are allowed either from higher state to lower state or from lower state to higher state where the value of difference of orbital quantum number of the two states, either it is +1 or it is -1. Means delta L, that is the change in L when the electron moves from one state to another, it can be any lower to higher or higher to lower. The value in the change of this L, it must be either +1 or -1. And along with that, the value of magnetic quantum number, that is ml. There is also a condition on the value of this change in the value of ml, and the value of this magnetic quantum number ml, it must change either by +1 or by -1 or doesn't change at all. Means change in the value of ml means delta ml, it must be equal to either +1 or -1 or 0. when along with that integral should be equal to non-zero, having some finite value. Along with that integral, these two conditions, they must be satisfied. Only those are allowed transitions. So allowed transitions are those transitions which satisfy that integral, it should be non-zero, then these two conditions. So when all these three conditions, they are satisfied, then any transition, it will be allowed. So these two are known as selection rules for allowed transitions. But there is no restriction over the change in n. Delta n, it can be +1, +2, +3, -1, -2, -3. So there is no restriction over the change in n. So when we are saying that this L changes by +1 or -1, then we know that according to Bohr's model, the angular momentum of an electron, it is integral multiple of h cut, that is h by 2 pi. So according to Bohr's model, if L changes by +-1, what does this means? This means if an atom is to radiate a photon, then that emitted photon, it will carry the angular momentum either +h cut or -h cut. And this +h cut -h cut, this will be equal to the difference between the angular momenta of electron in the initial state and in the final state. So here I have shown the energy level diagram for hydrogen, showing transitions which are allowed by the selection rules. Delta L is equal to +-1 and delta ML is equal to 0 and +-1. So here along this axis we have energy. We know that energy of electron which is present in the ground state of hydrogen atom, it is calculated by the formula -13.6 over n square, and for the ground state n is equal to 1, so -13.6 divided by 1 square, it will be equal to -13.6 electron volt. Similarly, for the first excited state, n is equal to 2. So here the energy of this first excited state, it can be calculated by the formula -13.6 divided by 2 square. Then it will come out to be -3.4 electron volt, and so on for this second excited state, third excited state, and for this most excited state, n will be infinite, the value of principal quantum number. So if n is infinite, then -13.6 divided by infinity, it will be 0. Now we know that the orbital quantum number L, it carries values from 0 to n-1. So for n is equal to 1, the values which are possible for L, for n is equal to 1, L will only have one value, that is 0, because 1 minus 1 is 0. So that is why this is the state, S state, corresponding to L is equal to 0, corresponding to L is equal to 1, we have p orbital, corresponding to L is equal to 2, we have d orbital, and corresponding to L is equal to 3, we have f orbital. So corresponding to this L is equal to 0, this is the single state, corresponding to n is equal to 1. Then corresponding to n is equal to 2, we know that for n is equal to 2, the value of L will be two values from 0 to n-1, means from 0 to 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that is why this is corresponding to L is equal to 0 and this is corresponding to L is equal to 1. And why we are having three states? Because there are three p orbitals, px, py, pz. Or you can say that corresponding to L is equal to 0, the value of ml, it is only 0 because ml takes values from minus L to plus L. So corresponding to L is equal to 0, ml is only equal to 0, means there is single orientation of s orbital, or there is only one s orbital. That is why here we have single line corresponding to s state. But corresponding to p state, L is equal to 1, and for L is equal to 1, there are three values possible of ml, that is minus 1, 0 and plus 1. So this is corresponding to ml is equal to minus 1, this is for 0, this is for plus 1. Similarly here, minus 1, 0 plus 1, minus 1, 0 plus 1. And corresponding to n is equal to 3, there are three values possible of L, that is 0, 1, 2. This is wrong because in this case we will have these three states. So L will be 0, 1, 2. This means S state, this means P state, and this means D state. So corresponding to L is equal to 0, there will only be a single value of ml, that is 0. So we will have single state. And corresponding to L is equal to 1, the values possible for ml are minus 1, 0, plus 1. So we have three substates. And corresponding to L is equal to 2, we have 5 values of ml from minus 2 to plus 2, including minus 1, 0, plus 1. So that is why this is minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2. Same is the case for n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5 and so on. So now apply the selection rules. First selection rule is that this delta L, either it should be equal to plus 1 or it should be equal to minus 1. So when transition will take place from L is equal to 1 to L is equal to 0. It means transition can take place from L is equal to 1 to 0, 2 to 1, 3 to 2. How? Transition from any of these three states, it can take place to this state. Transition from any of these three states, it can take place to this state. It is allowed transition. Why? Because for all these three, L is equal to 1 and for this L is equal to 0. So the change in L will be minus 1. And now see the change in ml. What is the change in ml? When the transition it takes place from this p orbital to this s orbital, then the ml value of this state is minus 1, ml value of this state is 0. What will be the change in ml? 0 minus of minus 1. It will be plus 1, which is allowed by the selection rule. Similarly, if the transition takes place from this p orbital to this, then again see, the value of L is 1 for this, the value of L is 0 for this. So change in L is again minus 1. What is the change in ml value? ml for this is 0 and ml for this is 0. Delta ml is 0, which is again allowed by the selection rule. So if the transition takes place from this state to this state, again the change in L is minus 1, and what is the change in ml? Here we have 0, here we have plus 1. So 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Again allowed by the selection rule. But if you will check that can the transition takes place from this state to this state? Is it possible or not? From this p orbital to this p orbital, or from this p orbital to this p orbital? It is not possible. Why? because for all these three states the value of L is 1. If the transition will occur between these three states, then the change in L for this will be 0, which is not allowed by the selection rule. So there is no transition possible between these three states, between these three states, between these three states means there is no transition possible according to the selection rule between the states of same L. So similarly, the transition, it can occur from this to this state, from any of this to any of this. You have to check. Here, the transition, it can occur from only those substates of L is equal to 2 to only those substates of L is equal to 1, where delta L is equal to plus minus 1 and delta ML it is equal to 0 or plus minus 1. From this to this, those transitions will not occur for which the delta ML value is plus 2, 0, plus 2, minus 3, plus 3. Those transitions will not occur. Only those transitions will occur where this selection rule, it is satisfied. So this is all about allowed transitions and the selection rules. So our next topic of syllabus is lifetime. So what is the lifetime of the excited state? Or you can say that lifetime of electron or atom in the excited state. So we'll discuss that. So as the probability of spontaneous transition, it is finite. Because of the finite value of the probability of spontaneous transition, the lifetime of excited state is also finite. And the rate of decay of atoms from higher state to the lower state, it is given by, rate of decay is given by minus dN by dt. Why this rate of decay is given by this minus dN by dt? Because the number of atoms in the excited state, it will decrease with the time. So that is why this negative sign, minus dN by dt. And this rate of decay, it will be proportional to the number of atoms present at that time. Number of atoms present in the excited state at that time. So with the time, this number, it will decrease. So that is why rate of decay of atoms, it will also decrease with the time. So where this NT, it is the number of atoms at that time or at time t, and it is the rate of decay. Then what is A? It is the constant of proportionality and it is known as transition probability. Now we will solve this to find the lifetime. So move this NT to this side and here we will have minus A dt. Then integrating both sides. So after integrating on both sides, the integration of this dN by n is natural log n. It is equal to minus A integration of dt is t plus constant of integration k, because this is indefinite integration. Now we will apply condition, initial condition to calculate the value of constant of integration k. We know that at time t is equal to 0, there will be the maximum number of atoms in the excited state. So when the time t was equal to 0, the number of atoms present in the excited state, it will be n at t is equal to 0. So now put this value in the previous equation, and that previous equation was log to the base e of nt, it is equal to minus at plus k. Put this condition in this equation. So here we will have log to the base e of n0, it is equal to minus a, t is equal to 0 plus k. So our constant of integration k, it comes out to be log to the base e of n0. And now put this value of constant of integration in that equation, in this equation. So we will get log to the base e of nt, it is equal to minus 80 plus this. Now move this term to this side. So here we will have log m minus log n, which is equal to log m by n. So we will get this equation, and then when you will solve this equation, or when you will take anti-log of this, anti-natural log of this, then it will become nt upon n0. It is equal to e raised to power minus 80. And the expression becomes nt, it is equal to n0, e raised to power minus 80. And suppose this is our equation third. And now we have to calculate the average lifetime of an atom in the excited state. And suppose it is given by tau, and we know that, suppose we have to find the average of any variable x, and it will be equal to n1x1 plus n2x2 and so on up to nnxn divided by n1 plus n2 plus up to nn. And this is the average in case of discrete system. And if we have a continuous system, then instead of this summation, we will use integration. Integration of x dn. So here the average lifetime of an atom in the excited state will be sum of lives of all the atoms in the excited state divided by the total number of atoms. And what are the total number of atoms? Those are the atoms present in the excited state at time t is equal to 0. So those are n0. So what will be the sum of lives of all the atoms present in the excited state? It will be the integration. At time t is equal to 0, the total number of present in the excited state, they are n0. That is the lower limit. And when all the atoms, they will de-excite from the excited state to some lower state, then the number of atoms at the end present in the excited state will be 0. But it will take time. So it will be the time of dn atoms. If t is the time spent by dn atoms in the excited state, then what will be the sum of lives of all the atoms? It will be this. Calculate this dn from this equation number third. Differentiate this equation number third. You will get dn mod. It will be equal to n0 minus a, but because of mod, minus a will be plus a, e raised to power minus 80 dt. So put this value here and you will get integration t, value of dn mod is n0, a e raised to power minus 80 dt. This total number of atoms at t is equal to 0, it will be cancelled out by this. And here this is the limit corresponding to dn. Now this is the limit corresponding to time dt. So initially when the number of atoms were n0, what was the condition over the time? N is equal to n0 when t is equal to 0. And when all the atoms, they will be de-excite to the lower state, at that time this t will be infinity. So that is why the limits are from 0 to infinity. Now solve this integral. 0 to infinity, t, a is constant, e raised to power minus 80 dt. by using integration by parts. This as first function and this as second function. So when you will solve down that integral, the average lifetime of an atom in the excited state, that is tau, it comes out to be 1 by A. What is A? It is the transition probability. So this average lifetime of an atom in the excited state, it is inversely proportional to the transition probability. So for the allowed transitions, we know that the only those transitions are allowed for which transition probability is high. So the transition probability of allowed transitions is high. Therefore, the lifetime of the atoms in case of allowed transitions in the excited state will be small. If this is high, this will be small. And in case of forbidden transitions, as the transition probability is low, that is why they are forbidden or weakly allowed. If this is low, then this lifetime of an atom in the excited state will be high in the forbidden transitions or weakly allowed transitions. Also from the time energy form of uncertainty principle, we know that uncertainty in energy and the product of uncertainty in energy and the uncertainty in time, it is approximately equal to h cut. Then the uncertainty in time, it is greater than equal to h cut by delta E. And what does this mean? This means if a system, it is present in any certain state for the time not longer than delta T, it means the uncertainty in the energy of that system is at least delta E. And what is that at least value of delta E? It is h cut by delta T. It means if the uncertainty in the energy of any system is delta E, then the maximum time available for the determination of that energy of the system, it is delta T, and which is approximately equal to h cut by delta E. So this is all about this lecture.